Well, hey guys, welcome back. It is the end of July and I am late in the game, but I didn't want to let July go by without doing a quick garden tour of my Oregon yard to show you what's blooming in the month of July. So let's check it out. So much has changed in my garden and in my yard this month, and there's a lot of really cool things blooming. Some things I grew from seed. My vegetable garden is just going crazy. So I want to take you around the yard today and show you a few things that are looking really awesome here at the end of July. So one of the coolest things I did this month was change out my 4th of July decor to my watermelon decor. If you haven't checked out that video, I will link that for you. It was a really fun project and I really love the way that my entry is looking right now. And then if we head this direction, this bed right here is looking really good too. So I just wanted to share this with you. I've got my new solar lights in and those are working really well at night. And then I definitely have my petunias are filled in. And then my geraniums that I grew from seed are starting to do really well and fill in as well. So I love this bed, this little entryway with my little arborvitae, my little gazing ball arborvitae and just the flowers, and I think it looks really pretty and it kind of goes with my watermelon decor. All right, so let's head to the side yard. Let's see what's going on in this area. First of all, this is a new garden bed here that I just planted up the other day. We've got some gaura, some echinacea, and some other really pretty flowers, as well as an evergreen bush. So I really like the way that that turned out as well. So heading this direction is towards my flower stand. And if you haven't seen some of the videos about how my husband and I made a flower stand out of our kids' old play structure, you should check those out. This is a project for another day. But over here, the side yard is just looking really, really beautiful this month. So I wanted to show you some of the flowers over here as well. So as we come through the fence, you can see Milo and Max are going to be helping out with this tour tonight. But these are all my potatoes and they are still doing really well. Again, they're hooked up to drip. I have noticed a couple of the vines of the pumpkin are starting to kind of get in there with the potatoes, but I'm excited to harvest these and we will eat them all winter long. This is my pumpkin patch and you can see it's completely taken over all of my strawberries there. My strawberries are more of a spring fruit for us anyway, but it's very exciting to see how many pumpkins are in this bed. So if you come in a little bit closer, I will try to share a few with you. There's one right here on the edge and you can see it's starting to orange up and you can see how big it is too. So I'm super excited for that one. I got to be careful of the pollinators up in here. And there's also one hiding out back here in the bed that's going to be a nice big one as well. It's hard to pull back some of this foliage so you can see it, but there it is. And then if we peek in here, I've got more of like a smaller variety that has like a stripe to it. And those are coming right along. So it's very exciting to see all of these things blooming and putting on size, just knowing that, you know, at some point I can go ahead and harvest these and use them for decor or potentially for eating here once fall comes around. The thing I'm so super excited about is my corn patch. You guys, I have never grown this much corn before. And I actually have ears of corn this year, and I'm so excited to see if they actually got pollinated, right? These little pollinators have to fall down, but let's look in here and see if we can see some of the ears of corn that are coming in, and it's gonna be so exciting if we actually get to eat some of this corn. I'm really hoping that, you know, that it pollinates correctly and that it is edible, and some of the ears of corn are really big. So if you peek back in here, you'll see there's a big one right there. There's one right here. So it's just super exciting to see that I actually grew corn this year and we might actually get to eat it. Another thing I'm excited about with the corn is, of course, decorating for the fall with it. So it'll be really fun to decorate my front entry with some of this corn this year. So the greenhouse has still some plants in it, but not a lot over the summer. It just gets too hot in there. One thing I did refresh this month was my green stock vertical planter. So again, if you haven't seen that video, you should check it out, but it's doing really well. You can see some of the marigolds here are starting to bloom, and I'm very excited to see some of that. Again, those oranges and reds and kind of autumnal colors. I've got a little yellow bloom up in here. And also the nasturtium that I cut back is rebounding, and so I'll probably have another flush of the nasturtium flowers as well. But I'm really glad that I took the time to refresh this planter. It just is going to look really pretty for the fall, and I'm glad that it's looking a little bit better than it did before. So heading down this way, I do have a couple dahlias here in pots. And this one in particular is one that I have several of. I think it was one of the bulbs that I split last year because I seem to have a lot of this particular variety. This one hasn't started blooming quite yet. In this bed, my Shasta daisies are about done, but I also have a dahlia back in here, kind of tucked in, and it's a really pretty purple one. So I'm excited to see how that one continues to bloom. My Russian sage is blooming right now, as well as this. This was actually a volunteer from last year, and it's a really great filler flower. And then this is new this year as well. This is a quick fire little lime punch from Proven Winners. And yeah, right here, this bloom, you can start to see a little bit of that pink that's coming through. So I'm excited to see how that does. The Cat's Pajamas Nepeta is still looking amazing for the pollinators. And then over here, my lily this year has done so well. I have been harvesting blooms off of it every few days for my cut flowers that I've been selling on the roadside stand. And then right next to that, check this out. This is that Dark Night Scabiosa, or sometimes called a pincushion flower. And this one is looking so beautiful. I absolutely love this variety, so I definitely want to include that in my seed planting for next year as well. We've got another pretty dahlia here, and then some coneflower that has come back for me, some more echinacea. So again, I've been using these in some of my bouquets. The Shasta daisies are a bit spent now, but this bed is just looking so lush and pretty. It's gorgeous. So let's look and see how the Vigo garden beds are doing next. Let's talk about how much I love, love, love growing snapdragons. You guys, if you're a beginning gardener, or yardner as I like to call it, snapdragons, they're easy to start from seed, and this is what you're gonna get. They just bloom their heads off, they cut and come again. So I have been harvesting these almost every day, and you can see they just continue to put on more and more blooms. They're so pretty, they smell really good, they last a long time in a vase, and they're definitely in my top 10 of flowers to grow for cut flowers, or just to beautify your garden. So here in Zone 8B, here in Willamette Valley, Oregon, the snapdragons have done really well for me this season, and I'm just really enjoying their beautiful color all through the summer. So the next two Vigo garden beds did have my peas, my shelling peas from spring. I pulled all those out and I underplanted them with zinnias. So these are my new zinnia patches. You can see I'm getting a few blooms, but I am harvesting them pretty regularly. This variety, unfortunately, is a pretty small little variety, but it still is blooming, and so I'm enjoying that. And then this bed over here has more zinnias in it. So you can see I'm just now starting to get some zinnia blooms. This also had some white poppies, and I don't know that I'll grow this variety of poppies next year. They didn't work for cut flowers. They were pretty, but the blooms don't last very long. So I'm not sure that I will grow those again, but zinnias are great for cut flowers, and they're coming along. I also have one more of the volunteers of that Black Knight Scabiosa that popped up here, so that's exciting. Let's see, and this bed, my gladiolas are kind of done. Most of them have come and gone, although this one's getting ready to bloom still. And then underplanted here are more snapdragons. Now these snapdragons don't get as much sun, so you can kind of see the difference. They're really beautiful. They're all the same variety of this dark burgundy color but they don't get as much sun, so therefore the stems aren't quite as long and they're not quite as prolific here where they get more shade. But I'm still enjoying them, and I'm still using them for some of my cut flower bouquets. So let's talk about this garden bed over here. I have a mix of cutting flowers and just bedding flowers. One plant that I'm really enjoying is this coffee cup elephant ear. This one is from Proven Winners, and you can see how big the leaves are. And I just love how those leaves kind of come up into that coffee cup shape. It's really pretty. Behind that, my hydrangea is in full bloom. This is a limelight, and it has those little bugs on it. Gosh darn it. I need to do something about those. I'm trying, but they just keep coming back. Anyway, you can see these nice big blooms here, and of course these will fade out to a gorgeous pink, and they will look beautiful all the way into fall and into winter until we get too much rain. Here's another one of those dahlias that's that same variety as the one back there. And then I have two smaller bush dahlias that come back every year for me. This one is a beautiful purple color. Unfortunately, the stems on this these varieties aren't as long, and it is more in the shade. So I end up using it more for my smaller bouquets. Here I planted some marigolds, and again, these ones are a little bit too shaded, I think, but I am starting to get some blooms, and these ones do have like a nice long stem on them, so I'm excited to use these for some cut flowers. My lavender bush is a bit out of control. I need to trim it back, but check out the marigolds in this area. So I planted these not for cut flowers, but just for a bedding plant, and boy, have they ever performed. So these ones were grown from seed, not by me, but by a local farm near me, and I got them for very cheap, and I just plugged them all in the ground, and they are just loving their life there. And I love how it's this big, you know, patch of orange and gold right here. It looks really, really pretty. Next to that, I have more dahlias that I grew from tuber. So this one here, I do have the names of them somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. This one is the Dahlia Kogain Fubarki. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it is gorgeous. Look at that. And there's another one of those here. So that one worked really well for me. This dahlia here, let's take a look at this guy. I mean, I don't know exactly which variety this is. Again, I'll have to see if I have the tag, but it's been a great bloomer. It's so pretty, and I think it's really like different looking. It's a really pretty flower, so I'm really enjoying that one. I've got this one back here, which is a purple variety that's doing really well. So this whole area with the dahlias is looking really, really pretty, and I'm really enjoying this space in this area. Down here I have another bedding plant. This one again is a Proven Winners. It's a Superbina. Again, I've tried using it, and it actually worked okay in some of my smaller mason jar bouquets. But you can see I've got two different varieties planted in here just as bedding plants, and they've really spread and kind of taken over this area. And it's just this swath of like this pink. It's really gorgeous right here. So I'm really enjoying that. Now we're heading more into the shade garden. It's the shade garden mainly because of this giant butterfly bush or buddleia. We'll try to get some more footage of it too. It's one that we lost basically. It broke all the way down in the ice storm this year. We knew it would be okay and it would come back, and boy did it ever. It is blooming its head off. It's gorgeous and providing lots of food for all of our hummingbirds and our pollinators. So the path that goes this way is kind of shaded by the butterfly bush. I've got another elephant ear here. Again, this is another Proven Winners, different variety, and it's doing pretty well. And then here in this shaded area, I've got lots of hostas and things like that. So I'm just going to kind of walk through here if I can, and if my cameraman can, and kind of show you some of the pretty things here. One thing that is blooming right now are all my fuchsias. Now, I was always told here in Oregon that fuchsias wouldn't survive our winters in Zone 8B, but I think, you know, things are warming up. And I put these all in the ground last year. There's a couple different varieties here, and they are doing really well here in the shade. Now, I probably wouldn't want to have them in, you know, a hot, super sunny location, but here in the shade, they are just doing really, really well and blooming. And I'm really enjoying them in this area as well. They're really healthy. So this plant's kind of interesting. This is a Queen's Anne's lace, and it is totally a volunteer. It's like basically it's a weed, okay? but the blooms are actually really pretty. They've got a nice long stem, and these ones are pretty closed up right now because it's the cool of the evening, but they open up and they're sort of a flat disc shaped flower, and they're white and they're gorgeous. So I've been letting it bloom and do its thing here, and I've been using these in cut flower arrangements. Some plants that I actually planted are these Rudbeckia. Now I grew these from seed, and it's kind of hard to see. This one's not totally bloomed out yet, but you can see how many buds on this. It is a gorgeous orange and red color, and I've got a couple plants of that here and some in another garden bed as well. I will say that they do like the sun. They're doing okay in the shade here, but the ones that are in the sun I think are even more impressive. But I'm excited that I did grow those from seed, and they are perennial, so they're going to come back for me next year. So that's really exciting for me. So a couple things of note over here in kind of the woodland garden bed, as I've been calling it, is my fig tree. That is new to me, and it does have some baby figs on it. I did move my elephant ear. This is its second year. It's here in the corner, loving the shade right now in the heat of the summer. A lot of my coleus and my coleus are doing really good here. So this one's really pretty and poppin'. Again, I'm not sure exactly what varietal that is. My Dusty Miller is loving its life in here. So lots of pretty just kind of foliage in this area. And yeah, things are looking really lush and pretty back in here. So let's go around the corner and I'll talk to you a little bit about my new vegetable garden beds and how they're doing. So if you've been following us for a while, you know that my husband built these beautiful garden beds for me this spring. And then we did the archways, and we've really just been enjoying this area. It's a new area for us, and we've got a lot of veggies planted up in here. My green beans are doing their thing. They're trellising everywhere. I've got some squash in here, tomatoes. I've got some cucumbers that I'm growing up the trellis now. I did remove the shelling peas again in a recent video, and I do have some cucumbers. Here's a little baby cucumber. There's one here. So that's really exciting. We got more tomatoes, more zucchinis and yellow zucchinis. I did trim back the sweet peas that are growing on this trellis. Unfortunately, they're kind of fading out. They're kind of done for the season, but I probably will collect some of the seeds from these so that I can grow them again next year. I really did enjoy growing sweet peas this year. It was really fun. And then over in this bed, we have some cherry tomatoes, more zucchini, and then I did want to show you this. This is this one I did grow from seed. This is a purple basil, so it smells really good. I'm growing it more for the flowers and to use in cut flower arrangements just because of the beautiful purple color. But I mean, if I had smell-o-vision, it smells so good. And of course, the tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, those are my favorite ones. The Sun Gold is what they're called. I just harvested a bunch tonight, and the kids and I love eating those. And so this whole garden is just like, we're just harvesting. We're harvesting squash every night. I'm harvesting tomatoes. We harvested so many peas this year. So it's really fun to like grow a veggie garden as well as cut flowers and be able to experience both. So here is our gorgeous beehive. Again, if you're new to my channel, look back through some of the playlists. We have a whole beekeeping playlist. My husband is really the beekeeper in the family, and he has walked through via video like how to start the beehive, how to check on your beehive, and all of that. So be sure to look at those videos, and we will have a beehive update coming soon. Basically, the beehive's doing great. All the bees are doing their thing, and so it's just really fun to watch them on all of my plants. Though I have really noticed this year how many more flowers, how many more veggies we're getting because of the pollinators. So that's really cool. These are my two taller Vigo garden beds, and I do have some fun things in here. One of the kind of the most like dramatic plants I've planted this year is amaranth. And this is funny because it was an old packet of seeds that someone like gifted me. I did the winter sowing method, and check it out. Like, it is happy, it is vigorous. I had no idea quite how vigorous amaranth would be, but I'm using it in cut flower arrangements. I'm using it more for the flowers. I think the flowers are really pretty. They provide that spike. They're purple. However, the stuff I have planted behind it's not getting a lot of sun. I do have some zinnias and sunflowers back here, but I'm not sure how well they're going to do because the amaranth is just so vigorous. But I'm really enjoying amaranth this year, and that's a flower I've never grown before, so it's been really fun to see how much I love it, right, and how fun it is. So again, if you've never grown something, just give it a try. It might end up being one of your favorites. And then this bed is all zinnias. So zinnias, if you don't know when to harvest, you do the wiggle test, right? Like these two aren't ready. They're still like really wiggly, which means those blooms are gonna get bigger. But if I wiggle on this one, you can see how it stays straight. So that one's ready to harvest. I'll probably harvest that one tomorrow. And you know, zinnias are those cut and come again flowers. So the more that you harvest, the more that you cut, the more that that plant is going to keep blooming. I have been fertilizing my zinnias well, I've been doing it about every other week, but I probably need to do it a little bit more just to get that more production. But I am really enjoying this patch of zinnias, and it seems to be doing really well here. The zinnias are underplanted with a little bit of celosia. Again, a funny story on this celosia. I planted it outdoors way too early in the front. I dug it all up. I babied it, and now it's actually, I think, going to survive and might give me, again, some more cut flowers here. So we'll see how it does underplanted in this bed. But I'm really enjoying this whole area in my garden right now. I know I already talked about the butterfly bush, but here it is in all its glory. It's ginormous, it's gorgeous, it's the star of the backyard in a lot of ways. I did underplant it with some more snapdragons and things, so those are all, you know, doing all right. Again, they don't get quite as much sun because they're just, you know, shaded by the buddleia, the butterfly bush as we like to call it. But the area is still looking good. And another thing which I have not shown or talked about until this video is our new trampoline. So we took down our kids' play structure. We wanted to have something active and fun for them in the backyard. And so we went ahead and bought a new trampoline on Amazon and put it up, and the kids have really been enjoying it. So this garden bed was brand new last year. Again, if you scroll back in old videos, you can see me planting this up. At the time, I called it Maggie's Garden, which is our dog that we lost last summer. But it is doing beautifully. The main star of the show here, I think, are these gorgeous, gorgeous hydrangeas. Now, these are a Limelight Prime. So that means, at least in my eyes, it means that the plants themselves are bigger. The buds are also nice and big, and so it's blooming, it's doing really well, and I'm excited to see how it continues to color up for the fall months. Something that's kind of done blooming but still is going to be interesting, I think, are these drumstick alliums. So I planted all these from a bulb. The pollinators have gone crazy for them. They were a really deep purple, and now they're sort of fading out. But I think I have a plan for these. I think I'm going to try to dry them and possibly use them in some dried floral wreaths and arrangements. So more to come on that. The fountain garden has become our pollinator watering hole. So we're going to get in here. Hopefully we can show you how the pollinators are using the fountain and the rocks that are on the fountain to drink. So it's really important that you have water source for your pollinators. Now I also have a couple dishes of rocks around the yard in different areas, but this seems to be their #1 prime spot, their favorite spot to drink. So over in this garden bed are a couple more of those Rudbeckia I wanted to share with you. The ones I planted from seed. They are a little bit more in full bloom. And so here's one here that's really pretty. This one's got a little bit more of a yellow tinge to it. And they are doing really well in the sun here. Other things in this bed, I've sheared back some of these plants. Gosh, I can't think of the name of them right now. But I've went ahead and sheared them back, and they might put another flush of blooms on, they might not. So yeah, the Rudbeckia in this area, gorgeous. The sweet peas back here on the trellis, also gorgeous, doing really well, really providing a lot of interest and tall interest there in the back on the trellis. The roses that I did in pots are not doing that great. I would say I probably need to get those in the ground next spring. This is our tree that we lost in the ice storm. It is a Japanese maple. And it's just putting out suckers. I'm not sure what we're going to do at this point. We talked about trying to keep one or two of the main leaders and try to kind of make it into a tree again. I'm not sure if that's going to work. I have been cutting back some of the suckers, but more to come on that, I guess. One more hydrangea is tucked back in here. This is also the Limelight Punch, I believe, but look at the size of that bud. That's a good one. So pretty. So I would say the Limelight Punch has bigger bloom heads than the Limelight Primes, just in my yard and my experience so far. But yeah, it's really pretty over here in this corner, and it's providing a lot of really pretty color over here. So since we're doing a garden tour tonight, I thought I would share with you our patio space. We had this space, we imagined it, and we had it built for us about 5 or 6 years ago. We had the big cement concrete slab poured and the pergola built. We put in the rain chain, and we just really enjoy this space. I had a different seating arrangement out here, but last year I bought this little conversation set, and I have to say we use this space almost every night. We come out here and enjoy the cool in the afternoon and hang out as a family and have a drink, and it's really like a fun family space for us. One thing we did add is this shade back here. So we just got this shade from Costco, and that really helps with the heat of the day. We can roll this down, and it helps just kind of keep everything a little cooler in here. But it really feels like an outdoor room, and that's what I really love about it. And we have a hummingbird that's trying to get to the feeder. This is our hummingbird feeder that my husband keeps nice and full, and it's really fun. We sit here in the evenings especially and watch the hummingbirds come by. So they're mad that I'm out here doing this garden tour. Back in here, I do have a couple plants. I've got some geraniums mainly. So some of these I grew from seed. This one I overwintered last year. This one I grew from seed. You can see it's going to be blooming again soon. This one I overwintered. And then I've got a hanging basket. Love the basket. The plants themselves I had to shear back. They were kind of done for the season. And I'm fertilizing it to see if it'll come back with another flush of blooms. Back here in the corner, I have my little fountain, kind of a little rack with little, kind of some garden art and some plants. My hanging baskets here are doing pretty well. This is my kitty cat's area. And then this over here is just an old kind of like wine rack. And I rattle canned it black, like a shiny black. And I've got lots of fun things. These are a lot of my jade plants that I'm over summering outdoors. I've got more geraniums up here. This one's blooming, that's a pretty one. And the Dichondra Silver Falls, really love the patio and the shade of the patio. So again, these are two that I overwintered in the greenhouse that have come back for me. So a lot of fun plants here on this little plant rack. Of course, we have our hot tub, which is nice, especially in the winter time. But I just wanted to share the patio space with you because it really has become like an extension of our living space, and we use it all the time, and it's really wonderful that we have this space. So thanks for hanging out and looking at my yard. There's nothing I like talking about more than my yard. So I appreciate you watching this video and taking the time to check out what's blooming in Zone 8B here in Willamette Valley, Oregon. And if you liked the video, if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe, I would really appreciate it and really help out my family. So if you need us, we'll be hanging out doing some gardening. I'll see you next time. Bye.